Welcome to the First Read Ultimate Spider-Man podcast, where we break down Bendis' iconic run on Ultimate Spider-Man, issues 1 through 160, in Earth 1610. I'm Zach, and with me today is Time 2006 Person of the Year, John Opat.
Yeah, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. I'm glad now the listeners all know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it was just
secret.
It was just specifically John.
Yeah. Oh, just in general.
Do you not know that story?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
In 2006, Time Magazine's Person of the Year was just you. It was just every person on the planet.
Oh, that's right. I think I do remember that. Why was that?
I don't know. Just a cutesy little marketing thing.
I wonder what happened in 2006. I don't know.
We all were doing great.
Yeah. How's your week going? How's your weekend going?
Weekend is going pretty good. Watched my nephew toddlers yesterday. That was great. Haven't really done much else. What are you up to?
Are these Shyla's siblings kids?
Her sister, yeah.
Her sister's kids. Okay. Not the sister that you live with, though.
No, she has two sisters.
Okay.
One lives with us.
Two
sisters. One lives with us and does our field correspondence, and one has two kids.
Two kids?
Two sisters?
Wow.
That family tree just keeps branching.
That is. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so you are you're kind of surrounded by a lot of ladies, huh?
Yeah, and then these, little dudes that are like 3 and 5.
So you've got to teach them how to be like a strong masculine man, because otherwise who knows what they're going to end up like.
Yeah, I'm not really like a toxic masculinity dude, but
don't just sell yourself short.
They have so few figures like that in their life. I kind of have to overcompensate when I'm around them.
Yeah. Oh, that's why you were texting me that you've been watching Andrew Tate recently.
Yeah, I don't really drink that much, but it was hard watching him yesterday. I had to have like 20 beers and put a couple holes in the drywall.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah. How about you? What have you been up to?
I had yesterday, I'm actually coaching the 4th grade basketball team. Well, I'm assistant coaching. And it's actually fun and kind of cute because I'm assistant coaching with the person who was my coach back in the day when I played basketball. Aww. which is my really good friend John, also Time Person of the Year.
Two Johns?
Two Johns. And it's his dad. So he coached us, and now his grandson is in school, so he asked me if I wanted to assistant coach. So anyway, we had our first games yesterday. It's a preseason tournament. I say games because it was 2 games.
Wow. What is going on today?
I know. And the first games are always worrisome because, it's 4th graders. I don't know if they're good or bad, right? I have no idea how good 4th graders are supposed to be, and it's pretty chaotic. But we got some easy victories yesterday, and we're in the Final Four today. So we play at 4:30, and then if we win, we will play in the championship game at 5:30.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
How many of them can dunk?
Next week you'll get to hear if we won or not. How many of them can dunk? None.
Pathetic.
I know. Bad coaching.
I know. I was watching the Pacers the other day, and there was dunks left and right.
Yeah.
I just figured that's how all basketball is.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you're not wrong.
All right. Well, that was fun. Do we have anything else?
I
save it for the end.
I do. Yeah, and I'll try to think of something to talk about at the end.
Okay, I've got a fun little story for the end. Remind me of that.
Good.
But
good.
It's long. It'll detract from us getting to the issues if we do it too early.
We wouldn't want that.
Yeah. All right. So here's a word from the Better Business Bureau.
Every business says they're better. But the ones that earn and display the BBB seal back it up. It instantly identifies businesses that are committed to operating with integrity, honoring promises, and telling the truth. Makes you wonder why every business doesn't have it. So look for it, because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
And we're back.
Let's go.
All right. So today we're in, what is
Hobgoblin.
this? Hobgoblin. Issues 72 and 73. And John, I know it's been a while since we've given an update or a recap on what's happened previously, but I figured today it'd be a good idea to do that just because it's been so darn long since we've seen Harry Osborn.
Okay. So, Peter Parker, neighborhood nerd, gets bit by a genetically altered spider, and he becomes the superhero known as Spider-Man.
And that's it.
How is that?
That was pretty good. I was going to read the one that Bendis provided us.
Well, whatever you think is best.
So, recent battles with villains, Carnage, and Nightmare have put Peter in an awful mental state, especially since the death of his friend Gwen Stacy at the hands of Carnage. He is doubting his role as Spider-Man and is unable to communicate with his girlfriend and confidant, Mary Jane Watson. Norman Osborn, the father of Peter's best friend Harry, was testing a wonder drug called Oz. Testing of the mysterious drug created the genetically altered spider that created Spider-Man. In an attempt to repeat the process on himself, Osborn destroyed his life. He mutated himself into a hulking goblin figure. Driven mad by the mutation, he set out to erase any memory of his existence. He killed his wife and attempted to kill his own son.
Is that what he was trying to do? Erase memory of his existence? That doesn't sound right.
I caught
he was
that
just
too.
Like going crazy or something.
Right. I think we're adding order here where it was originally presented as chaos.
Okay, Jordan Peterson. That's what he's like all about.
Really? I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I guess I should brush up on that if I'm going to be a toxic uncle.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, good.
In fact, one of Spider-Man's first tests of metal was fighting the mysterious goblin. Harry Osborn has been witness to all of his father's shocking and violent goblin outbursts. Norman Osborn recently escaped from S.H.I.E.L.D. custody and tried to use Peter as part of a commando brigade against the White House. Nick Fury led the Ultimates and Spider-Man to a successful defeat of Osborn, but was forced to use Harry as a decoy.
And that was during the Sinister 5 storyline that everyone probably remembers.
So close. Ultimate 6.
Whatever. I was making a joke.
A dumbstruck Harry witnessed the violent defeat of his father. Peter tried to comfort his old friend, but the only words Harry could mutter were, "I'll kill you all." That was the last time Peter, or anyone, saw Harry.
Intense. Why did he want to? Why does he want to kill them all again? Just because he killed his dad or something? Or
yeah, it was pretty shocking, and I think he said it in shock because it definitely was like
Peter wasn't expecting it either.
Right. They just kind of marched him on to the White House lawn as a decoy, and then they like shot up his dad, and he said, "I'll kill you." So he's got some pretty big feelings,
his dad, right? Harry's the one that killed his dad. He like stabbed him with a big piece of wood or something, didn't he?
Well, first of all, his dad never dies. Like he just keeps coming up like a bad penny. But yes, that already happened. That was like earlier on in the series.
Oh, that was not the Ultimate
6? No, that was in like their own penthouse.
Okay. Was that the one with the shark? That's where the shark was.
Yes.
Okay.
The shark. We love the shark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to add, remember, cellar door was his trigger word.
Okay, I did not remember that. But obviously that does come up here in this storyline.
Yes.
Maybe even today.
At the time, we just thought that was like, oh, forget everything. but it seems like maybe it has.
When did they say that before?
They said that in the arc you're talking about, where it was the last time we saw the Green Goblin, I think, in Ultimate Spider-Man. So it was when he threw Mary Jane off the bridge, and we saw the shark and everything. Harry was getting like hypnotherapy treatment.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We are. This is Ultimate Spider-Man 2000, right? I'm going to compare, while you start this issue, I'm going to compare it to issue 1 and see if we can get them at all.
Ooh, I like that, because we get some flashbacks.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, that's a good idea. So, this issue, Hobgoblin Part 1, it's written by Bendis, penciled by Bagley, inked by Hanna, colored by Smith, lettered by Iliopoulos. The usual starting 5. And we see a flashback to 9 months ago. And it's, like John said, it's the moment from issue 1 where Peter was bit by the spider. And he causes a scene and bleeds from the bite and accidentally flicks it onto Mary Jane. This should be all things that we've already seen.
Not only that, these are the exact panels. This is 2 pages worth of panels that are straight out of issue 1.
So that makes me wonder if they should have also credited Art to Bear and Transparency Digital in this issue.
Oh, wow.
Since they're reusing their work.
That's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Jump on it, Art to Bear.
Peter even has his dorky glasses on.
Yeah, he looks so different in issue 1.
He kind of does.
So he accidentally flicks the spider onto Mary Jane. She smacks it away, and Kong stomps on the spider as Peter collapses and vomits on the ground. And then we get
and you know what I noticed is that's the spider is like on MJ after it bites Peter. It's like on her shirt. And
yes.
So she got pretty close to being bitten. So are there like universes where she got bitten? I'm sure that they have made that at some point, Spider MJ.
I mean, if they have it,
you don't know about
First
it?
of all, I'm sure they probably have, but it's like not a big thing. It's not something that I know of.
Okay.
There is someone
I'm pretty sure even later in this run, not later than where we are now, but later than the first issue, doesn't she talk about that one time? She like, it almost bit me or something.
Yeah, she says, I was almost Spider-Man.
Yeah.
There is a character called Cindy Moon, Silk. She's pretty great, actually. Her whole deal is she's like a retcon character that she was there that day and she got bit by the same spider and got spider powers at the same time as Peter. And because they have these shared spider pheromones, they can't keep their hands off of each other.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know what I would love to see? Like a what if? Spider Kong. If Kong got bit.
I feel like they probably have done that concept with Flash. I would be surprised if they haven't.
I'm sure Flash has gotten bit at some point.
Because he's such a big Spider-Man fan.
But Kong, Kong is such a big Spider-Man fan. He's got a good heart. He'd be a good guy, I think.
But
or
Kong
maybe
didn't.
Flash would, what's it called? Steer him down a bad path.
But Kong only exists in this series, is the problem.
Oh, yeah. Original BMB creation.
Yeah, so it pretty much have to be Bendis writing it, because this is like his pet character. Anyways,
that'd be fun. That's even more reason that he should like do a little like 2-issue run or something. A 2-issue what if.
Bendis, come back to Marvel and reuse this
Oh, that's
character.
right. He's at like DC now.
I don't even know what he's doing these days. So we get another scene that might have been in the first issue. John can confirm that for us, where they're on the bus.
I'm already back on the.
Oh, okay.
I'm already back.
All right, listeners, you're going to be deprived of knowing. But Peter and MJ are talking on the bus about how he got bit by the spider, and it doesn't really matter, but it's just kind of cute. She's being nice to him. And later that day, Harry Osborn comes by Mary Jane's house and finds her on her front door stoop. And she says that she could sue him, and Harry says that his lawyer sent him there to settle. And he asks her how Peter's doing, and she says his aunt took him to the ER. And he says he's surprised she didn't go with him. And Mary Jane asks, why would she? And Harry says, well, isn't he your boyfriend? And MJ tells him to stop it, and Harry mentions noticing how nice Mary Jane was to Peter earlier on the bus. And she says, how can you tell when you refuse to make eye contact with me in public? And Harry tells her, that's what I thought. You were just trying to make me jealous.
I just don't like this Harry.
Yeah, this whole scene.
It just reminds me of, like, people in high school. It reminds me of a certain friend who I'm still friends with today, and he's a great guy. But back in high school, he was, like, kind of a douchebag, we'll say. And, like, this is, like, the way he would act. He'd, like, ignore, like, someone, and then, like, secretly be, like, blah, 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 you know.
Lash out at them.
Yeah, kind of. Secretly be, like, sweet or, like, lash out, right? But then, so it's just like, oh, man, this is just slimy. Slimy behavior here.
This whole scene just felt wrong to me. It felt off. It threw me for a loop.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't think you were supposed to like it, but damn. So MJ says they should be allowed to sit together on the bus, and Harry tells her that they will soon, but he can't say when. And we get the sense Harry believes that him being seen in public with MJ will anger his dad, and MJ thinks Harry is just using that as an excuse.
Why would that anger his dad at all?
You know what I think it is?
What?
I just rewatched the Sam Raimi Spider-Man recently, and there's that whole tense scene at, like, Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Where Norman is just saying horrible things about Mary Jane, who he just met. I'm telling you, I think we kind of underestimate sometimes how much in the early 2000s that movie was like the definitive Spider-Man. And I think Bendis was using some of the same, like, plot points in his run.
Yeah.
And I think his run was influencing it.
I still don't think it makes sense to, like, sitting together on the bus, because if we really thought that he was, like, that Norman Osborn was, like, that superficial about Harry not wanting to hang out with, like, poor people, wouldn't he just not ride the bus?
Wouldn't he be at a different school?
Yeah. And you know, you can, like, sit next to people on the bus. One, they're pretty much sitting together on the bus, right? Harry, MJ, and Peter were all talking on the bus in the very previous scene. They just aren't, like, right next to each other. So, I don't know. Didn't make sense. But I do love that Thanksgiving scene with Norman Osborn.
Yeah. So, Harry tells MJ that he really does like her. He's just never had a girlfriend before. And he tells her she should lose her glasses because she looks hot without them.
You kind of skipped him lashing out at her.
What'd I miss?
Well, they're like,
oh yeah. She says his dad's an a-hole, and he, like, blows up and says, no, he's not.
Okay, yeah. I hate to, like, nitpick and focus on something that's so small, but she doesn't say his dad's an a-hole. She says it makes no sense. So she's like, we could sit together on the bus, and he's like, no, my dad. And she's like, well, you know, she says, my dad's a, and then in quotes, hole too, but you're allowed to come over to my house. And then Harry says, my dad is not a, so she's not calling him an a-hole. She's calling him a hole. And then Harry is even like, my dad is not a, and he doesn't even say hole afterwards. I don't understand this.
My guess is they meant to say something else. Maybe they meant to say asshole, and someone at Marvel censored it and was like, you can't say that for whatever reason. Because you're right.
Probably.
It doesn't make sense as it's written right now.
No, but it's, that has to be what it was supposed to be,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I also think this is still like kind of a parallel to that scene in the movie, because Harry defends his dad.
My father is a great man.
I'll be lucky to be half of what he is. So you should keep your mouth shut. Yeah. This is the same like insufferable tone that he takes with her there.
Yeah. And he like kind of yells at her just like that. Yeah, I bet a lot of this was kind of drawn from that scene for inspiration.
Yeah. I'm telling you, there was like some synergy back and forth where it's like they were influencing each other, because I think early on in the Ultimate Spider-Man run, like there's pictures of Raimi and Maguire reading that on set to figure out like what they're trying to do. They're not reading the old Stan Lee stuff. They're reading like Bendis's issue that was out that week.
Also, after Harry lashes out at MJ, she kind of looks at him kind of sad and then apologizes. And then they'll go back to talking, which Zach's about to get into. And I only bring that up because it's sort of paralleled by another conversation later in this issue that, we can talk about more when we get to that one.
Yeah. So, this is where Harry, out of nowhere, tells MJ that she should lose her glasses because she looks hot without them. He might be as bad at talking to women as Peter is.
I mean, not really, because they're about to start smooching hard.
I mean, it works for him, but he still shouldn't have said it. And to MJ's credit, she says that she looks hot with them, too. And Harry says, "Oh, you think?" Which, again, she tried to bail you out, dude, and he's just digging himself deeper in that hole. But
Harry also says he's never had a girlfriend before, and she says, "What about Liz?" And he said, "Blondes are for practice."
Yuck.
That's
like her best friend, too. I feel like she would not take kindly to that joke. But she does here.
Yeah, this is like a different MJ.
I choose to read it as
she's just got like a secret crush that she doesn't want people to know about or something. I don't know.
I'm choosing to read it as this was 9 months ago and she's grown as a person since then.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so the two of them start making out, and even with the context of the conversation, like at this point we know they were secretly dating back then. It still just feels weird and wrong to watch them make out.
Yes. Okay, dude. I'm like kind of glad that you said that, because I thought the same thing, and it made me think about like, obviously, when we like date people or now even being married, we know that the people we're dating or with have like dated people in the past, but it's still weird to like think about those like conversations and it's like, oh, I just don't even want to. And that's what this felt like. It's like, no, this feels wrong. Something about this just isn't right.
It's that feeling, but even more, I think, shocking, because this is literally the first we've ever heard of them being together.
Yeah, and also, like you said, the way this conversation goes is Harry is just like a douchebag for like a minute and a half, and then they just start making out like hard on the stoop. So I don't know, it kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it seems it worked for him in the short term, maybe not in the long run,
Yeah.
So now we flash forward to the present, where Spider-Man is fighting an unknown bad guy in a science lab. I tried to rack my brain for who this guy is, and he's like, he can't possibly even be like a D-lister, because I've never seen this.
He's just a villain of the week.
He kind of looks like Iron Fist.
He's got some sort of like logo on his chest, but I can like barely even tell what that is.
He looks so stupid. And the bad guy has seemingly knocked Peter out and is gloating to the scientists nearby that he took out Spider-Man all by himself. And he tells them to give him the adamantium in the safe or he'll kill Spider-Man. And John, this stupid science nerd says, we don't even know him. Go ahead.
I love that. I thought that was funny.
That's the real bad guy of this issue. And just then Peter knocks the bad guy down and webs him in the face and says he was just playing possum, but the lab guy ruined it. And the bad guy yells, no! And Peter says, no what? No webbing or no kicking? You're going to have to be more specific. And as he says this, Peter punches the villain in the head and knocks him out. And he tells the science nerds, okay, I gotta go. I've got another group of ungrateful weasels to save across the town. Hey, when the police come, make sure you stare at them blankly too. Oh, and if one of you could blame me for all of this, that'd be great. And Peter swings away and we get a long internal monologue of his thoughts. And we learn that he was lying when he said that he was playing possum. And that villain actually did knock him out for a minute. And he thinks he was sloppy in that fight because his heart hasn't been in this ever since Gwen died. And
he says ever since Gwen Stacy died.
Oh, but not to nitpick or anything.
It's just something I thought was weird.
Yeah.
You don't think that's weird?
That he needed to use her full name?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's weird, but...
Okay. Well, let's see if it's weird when it comes up a couple more times in this issue.
Oh, do they just keep calling her by her full name?
Every time she's mentioned in this issue, they say Gwen Stacy. And it like irked me every time.
Okay, I'm just going to keep making wild guesses and accusations, but it feels like maybe someone at editorial said, hey, Bendis, you use Gwen a lot as shorthand, and she hasn't been in the book for like 10 months now. We should start saying her full name so people know who we're talking about.
Okay. I mean, maybe.
That might not have happened, but just an idea.
Yeah.
And Peter thinks to himself, I mean, I did say I wasn't going to be Spider-Man anymore, and here I am putting on that costume and bouncing around anyhow. And if I'm going to perform like that, I might as well keep the costume at home. I don't even know why I'm doing this anymore.
I'm a little, I'm starting to get a little annoyed at how mopey Peter is being not about the stuff with Gwen, but about how, like, everyone's mean to him and, like, he gets blamed for everything. Like, you know, the science people didn't even say anything, and he, like, launches into a rant against them. He's like, hey, make sure you blame me for everything. I gotta go save more ungrateful people. And then this big inner monologue, he's like kind of saying the same thing. And it's like, dude, like, you know, it's part of the job.
The difference is when he said it to the lab guys, it was funny. Here, it does come across as mopey, but like I would not have taken out that first line for anything. That was perfect.
Yeah.
And Peter thinks to himself that he just needs a sign to tell him what to do next. And we flip the page and see Flash, Kong, and MJ walking up to Peter with Harry Osborn. As MJ says, Peter, look who's here. And Peter looks shocked at Harry and says, are you visiting or are you back? And Harry says, oh, I'm back, baby. And Peter pulls Mary Jane aside and tells her, this isn't good. Do me a favor and stay away from him. And Mary Jane wants to know why, and Peter basically just tells her it's important and she needs to not question him. And she asks him why he's talking to her like this, and Peter says, I'm not talking to you like anything. Every time I ask you to do something, you give me 20 stupid questions, and every time you don't listen to me, you get thrown off a bridge. So could you just do me a favor and do what I say? And Mary Jane looks at him in shock for a second and says, I didn't kill Gwen Stacy, and runs away crying.
Okay, so this is the conversation that, like, her and Harry, you know, when her and Harry were having a conversation earlier, and then Harry kind of snapped at her, and then, you know, she, like, looks at him sad, and then she apologizes, and then here, kind of the same thing happens. I'm sure that was, like, done on purpose to, like, kind of compare, like, those two things. But Harry snaps at her, or I'm sorry, Peter snaps at her, and then she kind of looks at him sad, and then she does snap back. I don't know what that means or anything, but I'm sure that Bendis meant to like parallel those two conversations in like some way.
Definitely. Like I said, I think it shows personal growth from MJ. She's like more confident now. She's more capable of standing up for herself.
Yeah.
She's not going to take in a relationship and then make out with the guy.
She also says, I didn't kill Gwen Stacy, which she wouldn't say. She'd just say Gwen, of course.
I did notice it when I was reading it. I noticed it that time. I'm like, why did she say her full name? But I didn't notice it the first time when Peter said it.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to look for it because you brought that up. And after school, we see Peter arrive home to find Aunt May packing up the house. And she tells us that this is the last night they have in the old house. And Peter goes into the house to pack up his basement. And I'm just going to read this little monologue that he has. He says, if I had any kind of normal brain, I would lock this trunk in the river. I would lock this trunk and throw it in the river. He's looking at the trunk that he keeps his Spider-Man stuff in. Why can't I stop? And now Harry Osborn has mysteriously come back from wherever he was. He knows I'm Spider-Man. He knows his dad was a big green goblin. He knows all of it. And the last time I saw him, the only thing he said to me was, I'll kill you all. That was what he said to me after his father, juiced up as the Goblin, escapes from prison and tries to kill the president. He says, I'll kill you all. Does he even remember any of it? I mean, today he looked so normal. Where's he been? Can I trust him? Are we still friends? Doesn't feel like it. Maybe we are friends and I'm the one being weird. Yelling at MJ, what is wrong with me? Maybe it's just good old Harry come back looking for friendly faces and I'm acting like a tool. Does he blame me for what happened to his dad? I don't know. Will somebody please tell me what I am supposed to... And right then, someone from off panel says, where do you think you're going? And we flip the page and we see Harry is standing behind Peter in the doorway with his face half concealed by shadows. And Harry asks why they're moving. And Peter says they're only going a couple blocks over because his Uncle Ben and Gwen Stacy both died at this house. Hey, you're right. He says Gwen Stacy again.
I know. Yeah, those were the 3 times that we've now read all 3.
Random, but did you know there's a band called Gwen Stacy that's from Indianapolis and was actually kind of big back in the day?
I feel like I have heard that from you before, but I wouldn't have known that without you saying it again.
Gotcha.
Are they good? Are they a punk band?
I think they're like Christian metalcore, and they were from back in the day when that was like a kind of surprisingly big genre.
Yeah.
Peter asks Harry where he's been, and Harry says, oh, around. I'm joking. They sent me away. I was sent someplace nice in Colorado. They were just keeping me away from my supervillain father till it was safe to come out. And Peter asks, do you remember what happened? And Harry just creepily repeats, remember. As he opens the chest Peter keeps his costume in and holds the Spider-Man mask in his hand. And Peter asks Harry what he wants with him, and Harry says, just trying to put things in perspective. See, there's a funny thing going on with us. You get superpowers and become famous, and my life as I know it ends. You get to be Spider-Man, and my dad kills my mom. Every time my father goes nuts, there you are. And I come back to Queens, and you're dating my girlfriend. And Peter looks shocked and says, what? As the issue ends.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I originally had it ranked yesterday as 7.5 out of 10 secret X's, but I think I'm going to bump it up to an 8.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add on it?
I just like that there's a lot of parallels, because there's the parallel of like past MJ to present MJ, and then there's the parallels from like the movie to the book that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And then here at the end, Harry lays out a pretty good case of like how he and Peter are on kind of parallel tracks, but maybe Harry has gotten the raw end of the deal, which I'm sure Peter wouldn't agree with because he's like all down in the dumps right now. But it's just a lot of very interesting stuff that Bendis is playing with. The things I didn't like are actually still good for the issue. They're still necessary for the story he's trying to tell.
Like MJ and Harry kissing.
Yeah, it's just all of how awful MJ is treated in this issue. It's hard to like look at, but you also realize that it's telling a good story, and it actually is giving her a lot of agency in the end.
Yeah. That was all very well said. I think this was a really good start to like a new storyline with the Hobgoblin. There were some things that, they just take points away. If we're going to rank every issue, then when things stand out kind of, then like that conversation where maybe MJ calls Norman Osborn an asshole, but it's like edited weird, like that's like that sticks out. And then like the Gwen Stacy stuff, right? That sticks out. It's not big at all, but it feels like Peter's kind of becoming a passive protagonist in this story, because we get two separate times where he's just like internally monologuing, and he's like, what do I do? Somebody tell me what to do. And then it's like right on the next page, right? It's somebody kind of coming into the story. So I don't know, maybe Peter should take some control over his life at some point and like go out and do stuff. But it was all pretty good. I think if this turns into Harry just disliking Peter because of like high school girlfriend boyfriend stuff, that's not going to be as good as if his problem with Peter is like making all this stuff happen with his dad, right? Like, that's a better way to move the plot forward than like I'm upset about my high school girlfriend. I
agree. It's going to completely depend on how they play it from here on out. If the whole Mary Jane thing is just like an interesting little tidbit that we didn't know about before, that's fine. But if Harry's like weirdly obsessed over that while the rest of his life is crumbling because of Spider-Man, that would be weird.
Yeah. So I am going to give this one a 7 out of 10 Secret X's. So still really good. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I do like how at certain points in this series, Peter can be like, he's always relatable. He's the good guy. He doesn't really cross like that moral threshold of like being a broken character, but sometimes he's unlikable. Sometimes he's in the wrong, he's treating people in his life badly, and it just feels a little realistic to me.
It feels like you're probably referring to like when he snapped at MJ.
Yeah.
I just like
when you think he's just being too melodramatic, like sometimes he's a little twerp, but we still love him.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have that big of a problem with that, with the way he snapped at MJ. As you know, I think it's okay to yell at women.
Of course.
Just kidding. But, it was his dad that like chucked her off the bridge that she's been like having nightmares about forever. So I don't think it's too much to ask to be like, can you stay away from him until I figure out what's going on here? Because the last time we saw him, a lot of stuff happened. And we were literally at the White House trying to save the president. So can you just and I don't think that's too much to ask for. So when she starts kind of like when women start asking questions, she could understand that and like kind of look at that from his perspective instead of just being like, it's Harry, our best friend's back, like blah 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 blah. So I don't know. Yeah, I find Peter very relatable sometimes.
Yeah. John, what did we learn at the door-to-door pyramid scheme? It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
He could have said that a million better ways.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that's right. He wasn't making bad points, he was making his points badly.
Yeah, well said.
Right. Okay, are we ready for issue 73?
Let's get into it.
Okay. This is the standard creative team we've been working with here, our new starting five. And we open 1 week ago, and Harry is at the retreat house in Colorado that he was sent to, and he's standing out on the balcony looking out, and we can kind of tell that he's getting like flashes of memories, but they are like corrupted kind of. Like he can't really tell what's going on. They're all blurry and he can barely make out like what's being said, or he can't really make it out at all. So, but he's getting flashes of those memories like between all of his different encounters with like the Goblin and Spider-Man. So just then Nick Fury walks out onto the balcony and he asks Harry if he remembers who he, being Nick Fury, is. And Harry's like, yeah, you're Nick Fury. You're on TV all the time. You like run the world. And Fury asks him if he remembers meeting him. And Harry says no. And he asks Fury if he knows his dad. And Fury tells him yes and says he came all the way to Colorado to tell Harry that he's finally going home. And Fury tells Harry that they've been keeping him there for his own protection because his father, is potentially trying to kill him. But now that, go on.
I'm just going to say it. That doesn't seem like a wise use of time for the most powerful man on Earth.
Well, one of my notes for this issue is like, it's always fun seeing Nick Fury, but he's just like a stupid guy. He's just like never like doing the right. He's just like kind of clueless. He's like the most clueless, smart person in the world,
Yeah. I would really hope that like he would have better things to do than say, oh, I feel bad. Harry Osborn's been given a raw deal. I should go and talk to him in person.
Nick Fury doesn't give a about this kind of stuff. He would be like, just wipe his brain.
Yeah. Peter is objectively way more important than Harry, and Nick Fury would not do this for Peter. He wouldn't go across town to have a little talk with Peter unless he had something to get out of it.
Yeah. And yeah, Fury he says, well, Norman, your dad, he's no longer a danger. We've got him locked up, so you can go home. And Harry asks if he can see his dad, and Fury sternly tells him no. But he does say, if we can find a way to make Norman normal again, then he can see him. But until then, he can't tell Harry much because it's a matter of national security, and Harry's just a civilian. And he shouldn't be telling him anything at all. But like Zach said, Fury's like, but, I feel bad for you. And he specifically says, he goes, kids like you and your friend Peter Parker shouldn't be involved in these types of things. And like, that's what I mean when I'm like, Fury is kind of an idiot, because shouldn't he recognize that Harry might not remember anything about Peter? Just like might not. There's a chance. And he probably shouldn't bring his name up out of nowhere, just like randomly.
I had the same thought.
Okay, I think we were probably supposed to. I think we were probably supposed to be like, "Oh, Nick, you shouldn't have said that." Like,
there's no way Bendis writes Nick Fury thinking, "Yeah, this guy's going to come across as like cool and competent." Like the joke every time he shows up is that he's supposed to be cool and competent, and he's not.
That's so funny because like you model this like secret spy after Samuel L. Jackson, who is like supposed to be cool and confident, like make him cool and awesome like he is in the movies, you know? And this is more like Fury and Secret Invasion, where we're all just like, this guy's not smart. No, I was just taking a quick shot at Secret Invasion. He's not really like this, but he doesn't come across very cool and confident, like you said. Zach, did you ever even watch Secret Invasion?
No, I was going to tell you later. We finished Loki last night.
Oh, okay. We can talk about that afterwards.
Yeah.
I'll have to see what you think about that.
I honestly don't think like you can get me to watch Secret Invasion at this point. There's just certain
I wouldn't try.
There's just certain Marvel things that it doesn't matter how much I love Marvel in general. I'm just you'd have to Clockwork Orange me to get me to watch it.
I will say, I know I said this last week, but the Marvels is fun.
I do want to see that one.
Nick Fury is fun in it. He's like you know, personable and cool and charismatic, and Secret Invasion just could have been so much more. And it takes a lot to be like, man, you're wasting Samuel L. Jackson here in like a great role. So anyway, I wouldn't try to get you to watch it. You don't have to.
Did you know he's the highest grossing actor of all time?
Really?
Yeah. Because think about it. He's been in, he was in like Die Hard 2. He's been in, I think, Jurassic Park movies. He's been in.
Oh, what? You think he's getting
Marvel movies?
Like residual? He's getting like percents of these movies?
No, I'm just saying of like if you took every actor's filmography and you said how much did all of these gross? He was in the Star Wars prequels. He just has been in
I believe. He's
just been in a lot of franchises that
I thought you meant he's made the most money of anyone of all time.
No, like, I'm sure he's made a lot of money, but I'm just saying like he picks roles really well. He like inserts himself into some of the most high grossing franchises there are.
It's almost like, you know, all these people are like, I don't want to sign on for franchises and you know, I want to do movies, not these like silly. I want to do cinema, not these silly movies. And Samuel L. Jackson's like, no, I'll be in Star Wars. Yeah, you want me in all of the Marvel movies? Yeah, I can do that too. Like,
well, he gets his cake and eats it too because he's also like always working with Quentin Tarantino. You know, he's in like well-respected movies too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and all of those franchises wouldn't be as good if he wasn't in them, you know.
For sure.
So Fury's being stupid, and he mentions Peter Parker, and let's see if I can find out where we are in the notes. So, and Harry, he tells Harry that he still has family. He's going to go live with his grandfather, Amberson, but Fury tells him he strongly recommends he continue his therapy. And do you think Fury is talking about his like psychotherapy or just normal therapy he's maybe been going to?
That's a good question. I don't know. I would assume S.H.I.E.L.D. has their own therapists that they set Harry up with, but I could also see them being so stupid. They're like, oh, he's been working with this guy. He's got a rapport with him. Let's just have him keep going to that dude.
Yeah. And or maybe Fury does know what's going on with him because he knows he doesn't remember him, you know.
I think that's giving Fury like, too much credit.
You should. Yeah, you're right. Fury doesn't know what the hell's going on. So Fury does tell him there's kind of a silver lining to all of this. You know, his father and his mother are dead, so therefore all of their money and assets go to Harry, and he's now the richest kid in school. And back at school...
And the funny thing is, his father's not even dead. They're just sure as hell not going to let him have his money back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I keep saying he's dead. So, back at school, this is like 6 days ago? Yeah, so we started on 1 week ago. Now we're at 6 weeks ago. Or, I'm sorry, 6 days ago. we get kind of a glimpse into last week's comic from Harry's perspective. And Harry is watching as Peter and MJ talk to Johnny Storm. And Harry is kind of just sitting in his car stewing, watching Peter and MJ as they kind of like smile at each other and have a little bit of fun. And then we go to 5 days ago, and Harry's sitting in a meeting at Oscorp, and his foggy memories like kind of come back. And he can remember, he's kind of remembering like the night he found his mom, but he doesn't really know what's going on. And then 4 days ago, he's at, I think this is the Oscorp lab that exploded, that like gave Green Goblin the powers. And he gets another memory that kind of flashes back, that makes him think he's like been in the lab before. He can kind of remember being in the lab. And that's kind of how this issue runs. You know, we go like a week ago, 6 days ago, 5, 4, right? Now we're at 3 days ago. Harry is feeding his grandpa pizza when he gets an unknown call from a number telling him to meet him outside.
I think he's just eating pizza with his grandpa.
His grandpa looks like Hector Salamanca in Breaking Bad, if anyone's seen that. He's just like a vegetable, kind of.
I'm pretty sure he's
asleep. This is what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What? He's kind of holding out the pizza to his grandpa. You don't think that's what that looks like?
I think he's holding up the pizza like he might take a bite of it in a second.
Yeah, he's stealing his grandpa's pizza.
Hey, Spider-Man stole that guy's pizza.
So he gets this call. It tells him to meet him outside. And it's a guy that used to work from his dad named Shaw, Mr. Shaw. And he drives him out to this plot of land, kind of a secretive plot. And there's a big metal cellar door on the ground. And Shaw tells Harry that his dad had him in hypnotherapy since he was 11 years old in order to make Harry forget things that Norman didn't want him to remember. And this was kind of under the guise of wanting Harry to have like a normal life, not remember any of the things Osborn is doing or working on or anything. And Harry starts yelling that he wasn't hypnotized. And then Mr. Shaw says the word cellar door, and all of a sudden all of Harry's memories come back to him clearly. And we, see flashes of his fight with the Green Goblin and Spider-Man, and, at the White House, and flashes of memories being at that lab, and the house fire where his mom died. And between all of these are kind of also images of like Peter back in the day, and Peter now as Spider-Man, and MJ back in the day, and MJ now. And Harry falls to the ground crying, and Shaw hits a button and opens the big cellar door on the ground. And Harry just looks down on it and asks what it is. And Shaw tells him it's a bunker. It was your father's, and now it's yours. And Harry looks down at the cellar door as the issue ends.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
What'd you think?
I said it's good to see Fury go back to being a dumbass. This is perfect characterization throughout the comic run. If there's one character that hasn't changed at all, it's Nick Fury. I said he just doesn't seem very smart, but I still like seeing him. And the stuff with Harry is all pretty good. Like this is kind of similar to how Harry becomes the Goblin in the movies. Also, I'm guessing he's going to go down here and find all of Goblin's stuff and just like take on the role as new Goblin, Hobgoblin. It'd
be pretty disappointing if he didn't. Like if he went down there and it's all these like cooked books and tax documents and stuff, and that's just it. That would be. He
becomes like the accountant. It's his job to help Oscorp cook the books now. Yeah, this is all pretty good. I kind of liked the the way it was giving us the story, 1 week ago, 6 days ago, like we kind of get to see how this stuff happened with Harry over the last week. So yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was like great or perfect by any means, but I thought it was like slightly better than the last, and I liked it. Do you have a grading scale for us?
I don't.
Maybe pieces of pizza stolen from your grandpa.
I love that. That might be our best one yet.
Yeah. So I gave this one a 7.5 out of 10 pieces of pizza stolen from your grandpa.
Okay. I'm feeling generous. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 pieces of pizza stolen. I think this one was a lot drier than the last issue. But I also think it does something that I really like. They're both really well written. Like, you can tell Bendis thought long and hard about what he wanted to do and how he wanted to tell that story. And it's like this, it feels on the surface like not much happens in this issue, but it's just really well written. And I appreciate the whole cellar door thing. It kind of feels to me like parallel to earlier in the run when Norman was talking about circles. And we were like, what the hell is circles mean? Why does he keep saying it?
Yeah.
And then it kind of like led to something and was a little bit explained. I like the fact that cellar door was set up at this point years ago in the comic run as his trigger word. And now it turns out that it's also a literal thing. It's a cellar door that he was supposed to find. I just think that's a good use of something that a seed that was planted a long time ago. It probably wasn't intended to lead here. And they just realized, oh yeah, that piece is still on the board. We can do something with that. What if he actually went to a cellar door?
Yeah. I wonder if they did have this plan like years ago, like maybe not exact, but it's not outside the realm of possibility to be like, we're going to turn Harry into Hobgoblin at this point. So like, at some point he will stumble on his dad's cellar and find all of the stuff he needs to become Hobgoblin and like, blah, 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 cellar door. I don't know. I wonder how much of it they did have planned. Gosh, it'd be so interesting to get like Bendis on this pod. Yeah. Listeners, we need you to tell your friends, write in comments, get the SEO up or whatever. Get all of our numbers up so then Bendis will want to come on the pod.
Yeah, or write into Bendis, or if you see him at the supermarket, harass him, follow him to his car.
Yes.
Say, hey, there's this podcast. They've actually emailed you before. You should probably hit them up.
Have you?
Yeah, when we first started.
Okay, maybe we'll try again.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Like, I don't want to put it past him that he had this like long game plan. That doesn't seem out of character. The only thing is, it's kind of a miracle how long this comic lasted and kept him on as the writer. Like, most comic runs end after 2 or 3 years, and that's like a good run. So it's really hard to set something up and say, 40 issues from now, I'm going to come back to this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is almost a full year because isn't it one issue a week, I'm guessing?
No, like one issue a month.
They do one issue a month?
It takes a long time to draw all these panels.
That's only 12 issues a year.
Yeah.
That can't be right.
Well, plus, annuals and like tie-ins and other series and stuff. But yeah, that's like the standard pace that comics move at.
That's insane.
That's why I'm saying they might have had to remind us who Gwen Stacy was, because to us, you and me, it doesn't feel like she died that long ago. I bet you it's been about a year since she was even in the comics.
No. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Peter should not still be upset.
So when this
She
run
must
makes
have
it to 160 issues, that's like an Iron Man streak. That's like what is it, Cal Ripken? Playing all those games.
I'm gonna find this out. I'm looking at the Ultimate Spider-Man now. I wonder if I can find like the release dates of just all the issues in a row.
It's on Marvel Unlimited, but I don't know how accurate that is.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so this was... Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's one a month. This first one that you read was February of 2005. This next one was March of 2005. Dude, that is too long. I would lose interest so quickly. A month. If TV shows took if I had to wait a month between episodes, it's bad enough when you have to. I guess you get them year round with TV shows. Nowadays TV shows take like 2 years off in between seasons, but so I guess you get less than one a month if you think about it.
but again, like I said, then there's like annuals, and it crosses over into other issues, and usually if you're like a regular comic book reader, you're not just following one series. So it's like maybe one week you go to the store to pick up Ultimate Spider-Man, and then the next week the new issue of Ultimate Fantastic Four comes out, so
yeah,
you kind of stay busy.
Yeah. Gwen Stacy died between July and August 2004, just depending on which issue it is she died in. And then we are now in March 2005. So is that 9 months roughly?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I could see editorial saying, "Hey Bendis, you gotta give new readers, something to work with." And that also might be why Peter has so many like internal monologues recapping stuff we already know.
I guess that is like the first issue of a new storyline. So, you get your exposition out now, and then you don't have to do it as much, in the next 5 issues.
Right. They want to make it friendly for new people to hop on and start buying the books.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It's like we criticize things. We're like, why did they do this? And a lot of times the answer is sales.
Yeah.
Sales and editorial. There's just certain like boxes you have to check. And maybe the story would be a little bit better without them, but like that's not a choice.
Hey, we haven't had the Ultimates come in a little bit. Can we put them on the cover and have them come in for a page and a half?
Love it.
You got anything else this week? Nope.
Oh man, me either.
This week. Hey, so what are we doing next week? Usually we give a little tease for next week, but there's a lot of bonus episodes on my mind here.
Yeah,
and, so let's talk through these real quick. We'll give the listeners an inside look at how the sausage gets made. Okay.
So we got to do Doctor Who, right? So
Doctor Who is coming out on November 23rd.
Okay.
Which is the 60th anniversary. So, but I think there's going to be like 4 episodes, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be separated by a week or so. I could actually look up like when exactly.
So you want to wait till that ends?
Well, no, I don't. It's totally up to you. It actually looks like November 25th, and then there's 3 specials: November 25th, and then December 2nd, and then December 9th. Okay. Oh man, I thought there were 4. That's kind of a bummer.
So do you want to just keep us updated on those, or wait till it's over?
Well, I don't know. It's up to you. Do you want to do a whole issue or whole episode about Doctor Who?
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I kind of figured we would.
I kind of feel like if we're going to do that, you're going to have to watch some episodes. Like, I can't just come on here and talk about a show that you've never seen for an hour.
No, I've watched a lot of the Matt Smith stuff.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe let's do that after the 60th.
Okay.
Because that'll give some present stuff to talk about,
Yep.
Okay, and then we have Thanksgiving coming up.
Yep.
And Zach and I found a couple of Thanksgiving issues of Spider-Man that maybe we'll do next week. You want to make
So the
make
thing
those
about
next
that
week?
is we would be recording them and getting them out after Thanksgiving.
But still fun.
Okay.
Still in the spirit of things, I think. They'd be out like on Sunday? Thanksgiving's Thursday. So
yeah.
So that
Okay.
works.
I'm cool
I
with
think that for next week. And then, Zach, I ordered on Amazon, and it's supposed to be here tomorrow, the V for Vendetta comic.
Ooh,
Because
okay.
obviously I've watched the movie, and the movie's great. And I just figured I'd pick it up, see how it is. I'm sure it's great. Alan Moore is always pretty good. And what I'd really like to see is like more backstory of everything that happened. So I'm hoping there's a little bit more about the backstory of everything, because I think that's like some of the most interesting parts of the book of the movie are when they go into like the past of everything,
kind of the world building.
Yeah. So we'll see. But anyway, that's coming tomorrow. So I don't know if that has to be its own bonus episode. Maybe if it was like November 5th and we had thought about this like 3 weeks ago, that could be its own bonus. But
man, we might have to wait a year.
Next year, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, listeners, write in. Do you want to see us start doing some bonus episodes about like other comic series, like unrelated stuff? I actually was thinking about putting John onto the Nightly News by Jonathan Hickman. I feel like he would like that, and that's not a Marvel book at all. But yeah, if you want to see us do some bonus episodes where we just talk about stuff that's like not even Spider-Man, we can start doing that.
Yeah, especially if you guys give some recommendations. That'd be fun to do. But if you also just want us to stay on the Ultimate Run, that's also fun.
That's totally fine by us. That's what we are here for.
Yep. Okay, but next week we're doing our Thanksgiving issues, right?
Yeah, I think we can knock out a couple episodes over the holiday weekend, don't you? Do the Thanksgiving bonus and a regular.
Oh, you want to record two for two?
Well,
episodes?
You're the one who told me that it's kind of cheating them. It's cheating the listener if we give them a bonus in place of a regular episode.
I could probably find time to read 4 comics this weekend instead of just 2, for the listeners, of course.
Or you can do it throughout the week and break up the work.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
yeah.
I could probably do that. That sounds good.
Okay.
Look at that. What a treat you guys are going to get next week. 2 episodes.
You're wishing you bit your tongue about the Thanksgiving bonus now.
No, I'm actually not, because when I thought of it, that we're gonna do the Thanksgiving ones, I immediately thought of what I said about like it's not a bonus if it just is a replacement. That's not a bonus, So
yeah,
if we're gonna give the people bonuses, they've got to be bonuses.
Let's be men of our word here.
Yep.
Okay. We got anything else?
On that front? you told me you had some stories to tell. Or something.
Okay. Well, first of all,
we got to talk about Loki.
So yeah, I watched Loki. We binged like the last 4 episodes last night and kept saying, okay, one more episode and then we're going to bed. And then there'd be like a cliffhanger and we'd be like, well, we can't go to bed now.
Yeah. So what'd you think?
Dude, so I specifically want to like give a shout out to whoever does the set design, whoever does the costume design, whoever's in charge of the music, whoever directs these episodes.
These are a lot of different people, probably.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just so stylish and unique and fun and feels like good science fiction. It does sort of have that like Doctor Who quality that I was talking about the other day.
Yeah.
Or like the Last Jedi kind of, where it's like, this is awesome, but I don't understand what's happening right now. Like, I went this whole season of Loki without really understanding what was like the goal or motivations of the bad guys. But it's fine because it's also just a really fun watch. And I told Shyla, it doesn't make sense to me, but if everything Marvel put out was this fun and stylish, I would be so excited.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head on a lot of what you just said for your quick little like explanation. It definitely does have some Doctor Who to it. Like there's, you know, being stuck in a time loop or like specifically like going back in the past a million times until you can just like get something perfect.
Yes.
That is like my all-time favorite Doctor Who episode is like a Peter Capaldi episode, and it's basically just him walking around by himself the whole episode, and that's kind of what he does is he finds out, you know, he can't win. He just has to keep going back in time over and over and over again until he can like find a way to win. And so there's a lot of Doctor Who that does make it fun. When you said you don't know what the villain's plans are, or even what, I don't know what Loki's plans are. So that was a big problem that I had with it, because it's like the whole second season you're like, okay, hang on, are we trying to save the TVA? Does that mean we're trying to save the sacred timeline? Well, we're not pruning anymore, so like that means that means we want to get rid of the TVA, right? So like it's like I don't know what anyone's goals are, and the only reason I think that's okay is because I don't think the characters know what their goals are either. You know,
yeah.
They don't know what they need to do. Like Loki doesn't know if he should be saving the TVA or not. They're all just kind of winging it. So that sort of makes it okay, but I do think a lot of it like doesn't make sense, like especially when you get into like the last episode that, you know, there's no rules for time travel anymore, because in the movies you go back and you make a new universe, which is fine if that doesn't happen in the TVA because the TVA is special. But then like we see Loki time slipping, and there's like two versions of him. He doesn't time slip into his body. He time slips back to the spot. And then when we get to the last episode, now the rules have changed, and now he's time slipping into his own body. So it's like, okay, that goes against what you guys made the rules. You just got to make them consistent.
Yeah. I feel like if you were to read the script of these episodes, you'd be like, this is dog shit. But then you see the finished product and just all those other flourishes that they give it. It makes it fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a fun one. Man, the scene with Sylvie when she goes into that record shop and puts on the headphones and is just like listening to music, and then everything starts like kind of that her universe starts getting destroyed. Do you like know the scene I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think it was the Velvet Underground.
Man, that was like the most beautiful scene in the world to watch, I thought. And it was also like so I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever smoked weed before, but which I would of course never do now because I'm a teacher. But there were few things better back in the day than just like smoking a little bit, throwing on some good music, and just like sitting back and chilling. And they didn't have to show Sylvie lighting up for us to all know that she got good and stoned before she went in there.
That was the vibe for sure.
Definitely. It was just good. I mean, there were some problems with it. I don't quite love the whole series as much as like everything I'm seeing online that say like, oh, it's like the best thing and it saved the MCU and all this stuff. But it was good enough that I like thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Also, my other big issue is Loki just gets whatever powers are needed throughout the series. He just
that's
gains
always
new
been
powers.
his thing. Yeah.
And like at the end, now he's what, like holding all the timelines together at the center, and like that's a really beautiful shot, you know. But
doesn't make a lick of sense.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah, exactly. It's like, how's this happening? And I think it's silly that he gets like when he changes into his costume, it's supposed to be cool, and then they show his like little loafers on his feet that he's wearing, and I'm like, that's kind of goofy. But
The only thing that like makes that not bother me as much is that I've never understood Loki's powers. Not in the movies, not in the comics. Couldn't tell you. He just seems like he just kind of does whatever he needs to.
I also heard that maybe they are tying up Kang with this. Like now Kang has been conquered. Like because now there is a TVA that is their job is strictly finding Kangs and making sure they don't cause problems. So they can just write Jonathan Majors out. And I think that's a little disappointing because I was really excited to see this like Kang that they've built up, and they sure have been talking about him for a while. And, you know, we got to see him in Ant-Man, but, you know, there were also like a million versions of him. And I was really wanting to see how he would, you know, just continue seeing him. So I'll be a little disappointed if he doesn't come back. But obviously there's real world stuff that is kind of changing those plans.
I hope those reports are false. Because it'd be so easy to just recast that character and say, oh, this is just like a different variant of him. Don't worry about it. Or have him wear a mask like he does in the comics. You know,
or just recast him. Everybody understands. Like, you can just recast people. Nobody's going to be like, that's a different actor. This story doesn't make any sense anymore. It's like, we get it.
You did it with Rhodey. You did it with Hulk.
And they've done it. Yeah, they've done it with other people. And, you know, it stinks that you showed a stadium full of variants and they all look like Jonathan Majors, but get over it. Recast him. Reshoot that scene.
Yeah.
Just put a new character in it and reshoot the scene where now it's all him in the stadium. Throw it at the end of Ant-Man.
That's what George Lucas would do.
You know? Exactly.
My other thing is, it feels disingenuous to do it now when they already put him in Ant-Man and they already put him in season 2 of Loki, and all of this was public information. Like, oh, this guy's a bad guy. We can't work with him anymore. After this movie and TV show stops shooting. After that, we're done with it. Like, no, if you were truly outraged by what you were hearing and you believe his victims, just cut ties with him immediately.
Yeah.
What are we even doing here? Like, we're not going to give him 3 more movies after that. What?
Yeah.
Either you can't work with him or you can, you know, don't have this fake moral high ground.
Have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Where you work with him for 2 years until the storylines get wrapped up, and then you're like, oh, we're done with him.
Yeah. You know? That doesn't make you the good guy.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, I thought it was very fun. It makes me excited for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shiloh and I did agree that it would probably make more sense if we went back and rewatched season 1 and then rewatched season 2, but that's just too much work. We're not going to do that. I'm content saying it was fun and didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. That's how I am with it. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't make very much sense, but I had fun with it. And, you know, I'd like to see Loki come back at some point and meet up with Thor. You know, but what I was really hoping, and maybe this is my own fault because sometimes I watch like these things on YouTube. I think one of them's like maybe Nando V Movies, if you've ever heard of that, or who's the other guy that Full Fat Videos. They do like video essays that are just like great. And they did one, I think, about like Loki and how maybe they were gearing up for him to be the main like hero of Secret Wars Kang Dynasty. Because of this experience he's had with the TVA, he's now going to become like the main hero, and you know, he just get a nice little reunion with Thor and blah blah blah, and man, it just made it sound so good, and I just hate to have Loki like sitting up there in a tree holding all the timelines together forever, like, and then Kang is just like gone. Like, I don't think that that's a good wrap up to this storyline.
Yeah.
You know,
it goes back to what we were saying about like the difference between what corporate says sells and you need to do, and what would make a good story. It's like Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy. His whole motivation was Thanos killed my family, I want revenge. And then it's like he had absolutely nothing to do with taking down Thanos. That's not a satisfying story for him.
That's a bummer. Now that you just mentioned that, I'm not sure if I ever really thought of that. But he should have got a good scene there in Endgame.
But it's because they were like,
well, Ronan killed his family because that's what the first Guardians movie was about.
But Ronan was working for Thanos,
and then at the end, there's like a throwaway line, like, "Yeah, well, he was working for Thanos, so that's who I need to kill." But that's kind of more of a joke, I think, than. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
You are right.
Or Nebula taking down Thanos. Like, there's so many more people where it would make sense, but it had to be Thor, Iron Man, Captain America leading the charge, because that's what moves tickets.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad it was. I would much rather see those three have that final fight than Nebula and Drax come in.
Well, I'm saying that
movie was nearly perfect, Zach.
Yeah, I liked it too, but I'm just saying that same sentiment is going to keep you from getting Loki ever leading a Secret Wars movie. Like, they will have Hugh Jackman, Wolverine.
Dude, I don't think so. I think Loki has probably the most fans in the MCU right now, I would say, out of any heroes.
Right now, but if everything's on the table, they're going to have, like, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, and
I guess they're supposed to be
Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Iron Man. And it's not going to make any sense story-wise, but everyone's going to cheer. And it's going to make $10 billion.
I don't even know if it is. That movie doesn't sound very good to me. But it could be. It could be awesome. I'll tell you what, if Robert Downey Jr. is in a movie as Iron Man, it's probably going to be a good movie.
Yeah, but my point is, like, it's not. It doesn't sound good. We want a good story, but they have it figured out. Like, but the masses just want to see these boxes checked.
Yeah, they just messed up. MCU messed up pretty badly after Endgame. Probably tried to make the universe a little bit bigger than they needed to. Just with all of the extra characters, whereas, they already had Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Okay, so you give them each another movie. Wanda's great, so she gets her TV show. But then, keep it small. Have Shang-Chi show up 2 or 3 times in cameos, so we know what's going on with him. Because so many of these people that they've put out, we've only seen them once, and it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
We saw Captain America 5 times in 5 years, That's why those characters were beloved. It's because we saw them all the time.
Yeah, they've definitely overextended their reach.
Yes.
They thought we are an institution now. We are unstoppable. We can just take every character that's ever been in the comics and turn them all into a big brand. And I think they were wrong.
Well, maybe if they had maybe if time and money weren't a thing, they could do that. But they're wrong in the sense that you can't just release them in one thing and expect them to be this that movie might be good, but no one's gonna really care about them, if they're only in one thing. They need to become a staple. They've got.
And also the movies aren't good.
Yeah, and the movies aren't good. That's true. And the TV shows aren't very good.
You gotta make sure they're good first and foremost, and then also give us more of them.
One TV show or movie might be enough if they were good.
For real.
Okay, what else do you have?
Oh man, so something funny happened this week in one of my fantasy leagues. It's the one I don't even care about, don't ever check. There's a guy there that no one knows. One person has even met him in real life, and that's the commissioner, and that's how he got in this league. Okay? He apparently lives in our hometown, but again, no one's ever heard of him, and he just kept like all season long, he's just been ragging on my buddy Luke in the league chat for no reason.
That is
like
so funny that nobody knows this guy and he's talking.
And Luke doesn't know where it's coming from either. It's like he only goes after him, and he doesn't know any of us. And my buddy Luke has some songs out on like SoundCloud and Spotify and stuff that he made while he was drunk like 6 years ago. And they're not good. They're just like, you know, what you would expect a drunk rap song from 6 years ago to be. But he's not like proud of them or promoting them or anything. They just exist.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy started like finding them and dropping them in the league chat. Like, LOL, this you, bro?
Oh my God.
And my buddy Luke was like, I'm tired of this dude. Watch this. And he challenged him. He challenged him to an MMA style fight in this other guy's backyard. And he's like, we're going to have gloves. We're going to have mouth guards. We're going to have 3 volunteer referees. It's going to be a safe environment where I'm going to kick your ass. Since you've got so much to say about me, we're going to sell tickets $10 a head. I will buy a keg and pizza for everyone. And all of the money will go to whatever charity you want, and then if you beat me, I'll match it.
Okay.
And he was deadly serious, and everyone in our league was about it too. And this guy just kept not responding, but like would still talking. He would just change the subject to something else. Yes, and so everyone.
So is your buddy Luke a pretty like big guy? I would not feel confident if I challenged like anyone to a fight.
Yeah, no, he's not a big guy, but he's like kind of a wild man. Like I could see him being a scrappy fighter.
Okay.
Just on account of his tenacity. But this other guy just was like not responding, and then I was even like, dude, if you beat Luke, I will also match the amount for charity. And it turned into like, oh, someone's like, my buddy's a DJ. He'll play this event for sure. And then someone else was like, oh, my girlfriend's a nurse. She'll be on standby so you don't have to go to the hospital when Luke knocks you out. And
oh my gosh.
Like everyone is so serious about it. And at this point, we just want to have a fun little hang. And Luke was like, look, man, after the fight, we're good. The beef is squashed, but I have to kick your ass now. That's just how it is. And this guy like stopped responding for a couple of hours. And in that time, someone found his Discord, and he's got like it's just horribly racist. There's no way around it. This dude is like an edgelord.
Kicked out of the league.
We can't kick him out because we're like almost like to the playoffs or whatever, but he's shunned.
I mean next year.
Oh, absolutely. Like he'll try and post things now in the group chat, and every single person is like, shut up, your opinion doesn't matter.
How's this team?
It's in first place, unfortunately. We hate that.
Yeah, someone's got to beat him just because it hurts. It would hurt to kick out the guy who won the league. I would feel like, he got the last laugh, kind of,
Well, he's officially declined the fight now, and my buddy's like, okay, I mean, he had a chance to do it in a safe environment, but now I'm just going to kick his ass because, like, I'm just going to, whenever I see him, like, this dude, he can't not get his ass kicked at this point.
Wow, this guy sounds like a good guy.
Yeah, so I was like cracking up the day that all of this was happening in the chat. It's like we already hated him just because he's insufferable, and then we're like, oh, and also this.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. So how are your other teams going in the leagues that you do care about? We always talk about mine.
Yeah, so that league is definitely my worst one. Let me pull up I'm 4-6 in that one. And then in my Dynasty League, which is like probably my favorite one, I'm in first place. I'm 8-2. And then I have one other league that's also redraft, and I am pulling that up. I'm 9-1 in that one, and I'm in first place. So I'm doing pretty good, except for that league that we have the racist loser in, apparently.
Nice. Sounds like a good year. Yep. I'm 4-6 and need a win this week to keep the playoff hopes alive.
Got to join more leagues because you'll feel better if you're 4-6-1 and 9-1 in another. I'll tell you that.
I just won't care about them. I care about this league. If I worked at a place where they had a fantasy football work league, I would join it, of course, or I'd even like put it on. You know, I've done that before. But you know, I work with like all like, you know, older female teachers, so I don't think any of them are into fantasy football.
Do it with the kids.
It would be fun to kick their ass. That would be fun. But dude, I just care too much about this league. Everything else, I'm like, I don't even care about it.
That's fair. I respect that. I don't care about the league that I'm winning in because I'm winning in it. I had like a really bad team last year, and I still preferred that league. It's just because that one has like the funnest and most active league chat.
Yeah. Well, good luck to all of the webheads in your fantasy football matches this week. I hope they're going well.
Stay strong, little soldiers. Make that playoff push.
Zach, what time do you get the episodes up on Sundays?
Whenever I can. I'm going to be editing this one as soon as we hop off.
Well, listeners, if it gets up before 4:30 Eastern time, you could come to St. Mark Catholic Church and watch my 4th grade basketball team play in the Final Four.
I was looking at the geotags, and apparently we don't actually have that many Indianapolis listeners. So thank you to all the people from outside Indianapolis who have to hear us talk about like Colts and Pacers and local.
Yeah. Especially the people that are like outside of the US that like don't care at all about like these types of things.
I'm in Uzbekistan. I don't know what a quarterback is.
Yeah. You got anything else?
I don't. I'm done.
Okay. I don't either. Thank you to Ian Hickey for the music and our correspondent on the ground, Alyssa Seaman, for the artwork. And thank you to the webheads for listening and leaving us a review or a comment. You guys can find us, the First Read Ultimate Spider-Man podcast, on Spotify or Apple Music or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And you can come chat with us on Instagram at First Read Podcast. Send us an email at firstreadspidey@gmail.com or find us on YouTube, First Read Ultimate Spider-Man podcast. See you next week.
See ya.